Slower speeds, safer streets. A city councilor calls for 40 km/h max speed limits on all residential streets.
I think there's an appetite for it from a public safety standpoint.
Fuel to drop.
The markets seem to be really amused by this.
Fuel is expected to drop 10 cents a liter overnight. And reimagining the rink.
Giving them a place to put their head on a bed, getting them off of our main street and other streets.
A new vision for the barn that will house the homeless.
CTV News with Stefanie Masotti.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on CTV Windsor and AM 800. Windsor is taking another look at whether residential speed limits should drop from 50 km/h to 40. The idea is meant to make neighborhood streets safer, especially for pedestrians and cyclists. CTV's Sanjay Maru joins me now to explain. Good evening, Sanjay.
And Stefanie, here in Windsor, the posted speed limit in some neighborhoods is already 40 km/h. Case in point right behind me here on Casgrain Drive in Windsor. But for folks who live in neighborhoods like these, there's little optimism from many that making this move citywide will spark any real change. Here at the corner of Clemenceau and Rose, where the speed limit is 40 km/h, longtime neighbors say it's had little impact on driver behavior.
It doesn't slow the traffic. It doesn't slow nothing down. Nobody wants to drive 40 anymore. Nobody.
But there's an inconsistency. One block over, the speed limit changes to 50 km/h. Councillor Gary Kashik says he wants to see that lack of consistency change, not just in his ward, but in residential neighborhoods across the entire city.
A lot of residents ask why. A lot of residents why we don't have conformity in the city. And I think there's an appetite for it from a public safety standpoint. Also we want people to walk. We want people to ride bicycles. We want people to, to be active and to be mobile.
But Kashik acknowledges the hunger to do that can be diminished in fast-moving traffic. The impact of speeding vehicles is something this resident knows all too well.
In December, I had my brand new truck parked over there, and a lady was driving and rear-ended the truck at almost 90 km/h speed and towed the truck completely. It was a write-off.
For someone who doesn't live in a 40K zone area or go through it, driving 40 is incredibly painfully slow.
The president of the Ontario Safety League says lowering residential speed limits can significantly reduce fatality and severe injury risk, but a blanket reduction may not change driver behavior on its own. He adds the city should take a data-driven approach, prioritizing school zones and pedestrian-heavy areas while pairing lower limits with physical cues.
There has to be education that goes along with the enforcement. Just a written sign isn't normally enough to change behavior. Seeing a crossing guard, seeing a police officer, a flashing light, a speed bump.
We're going to fix roads and we're going to make them better. If we can add a couple speed humps and a couple different other traffic calming measures into that area, I think that's going to matter. But you're always going to get a few people that are going fast. Certainly our partners with Windsor Police and a little more police enforcement in the neighborhoods would be great.
And reducing residential speed limits is a key part of Windsor's Vision Zero plan, aimed at eliminating deaths and serious injuries on Windsor's streets long term. The broader Vision Zero approach, however, points to 30 km/h in areas where vehicles and pedestrians mix. But Gary Kashik says he thinks that's too drastic. 40, he says, is a good middle ground. A report looking at the feasibility of this change from 50 to 40 km/h speeds in residential neighborhoods citywide is expected to be brought back to a future meeting of Windsor City Council. Stefanie.
Okay, Sanjay Maru, thank you. So this is our question of the day. Would you like to see a 40-kilometer speed limit in all residential areas? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Yesterday, we asked if you would walk or bicycle over the Gordie Howe International Bridge once it opens. Out of almost 800 votes, 62% say no. In Chatham-Kent, police say a 28-year-old Chatham woman was struck by a vehicle and seriously hurt. The collision at the intersection of McNaughton Avenue East and Taylor Avenue happened on Tuesday around 8:30 p.m. Due to the severity of the collision, police say the traffic management unit was called in to handle the investigation, which remains open and ongoing. OPP seized a cache of drugs and guns worth more than $145,000. Police say the large seizure was made in Harrow, where officers executed search warrants at a home on Erie View Avenue about a week ago. Officers say they discovered 5 firearms, ammunition, cash, and suspected drugs. The total value of the seized property again exceeds $145,000. The OPP says the Canada Border Services Agency provided a backscatter handheld X-ray machine to assist with the search. Windsor police are asking for the public's help identifying suspects in 3 separate property damage investigations. Police say 3 suspects were caught on video kicking in the front door of a home on McDougall Street on May 23rd. In another case, a man riding a bicycle allegedly cut phone lines on Dougal Avenue in April. And investigators are also looking into damage to a vehicle parked at a residence on Pleasant Place back in March. Anyone with information is asked to contact Windsor Police or Crime Stoppers anonymously. Turning now to Superior Court, where the trial continues for the man accused in the explosion at Windsor Assembly. Today, another co-worker says the accused made unusual remarks in the days after the incident. Joining me with the details from today's court is CTV's Michelle Molesky. Michelle.
Stefanie, 37-year-old James Harris has pleaded not guilty to arson with disregard for human life and intent to cause an explosion. Today, another one of his former co-workers testified about a conversation the day after the explosion. On November 4th, 2021, this minor explosion forced the evacuation of the entire Windsor Assembly plant. No one was hurt, but in the days afterwards, employees have testified that rumors were swirling about who did it. One co-worker testified today that Harris said to her, quote, "No one would have gotten hurt. No one would have died." Victoria Moore says Harris was trying to reassure her when she expressed safety concerns at being at work. She says Harris seemed to know exactly where the explosion happened, in an unused part of the plant on the 2nd floor, where janitors, like them, would go for daily walks. Moore conceded on cross-examination that Harris never confessed to responsibility and that everyone was tense and nervous the day after the explosion, but rumors were swirling, and she admits they may have clouded her memory of conversations with James Harris. The judge has also learned the explosion happened just a few weeks after Stellantis announced its COVID-19 vaccine mandate, forcing all staff and contractors to be double vaccinated or face termination. All of Harris's co-workers told the court he was against the mandates and was actively participating in protests and rallies against them. This trial will continue tomorrow. Stefanie?
Okay, thank you for this, Michelle. In other news, a fire before dawn Tuesday in Whately caused $500,000 in damage. Chatham-Kent fire crews called to a home on Erie Street North shortly before 4 a.m. A viewer submitted this image you see here of the scene. Fire officials say the cause of the fire is undetermined. Let's take a break now. Go to CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald, who joins us for a first look at the weather from the top of the Bell Building today, where it's gorgeous. Gary.
Good evening, Stefanie. Good evening, folks. It is indeed sublime out here. Low humidity values with, relatively speaking, warmer than seasonal temperatures, close to 25 to 27 degrees across extreme southwestern Ontario. That means it feels warm and, relatively speaking, comfortable. Ridge of high pressure should keep us quiet, at least for the next few hours. There's only about a 30% chance between, say, 11 p.m. tonight and about 2 a.m. that passing showers over upper Michigan could slide south over us. But if we see it at all, it is scattered, it is very light, and it doesn't last, because by the time we're up and running tomorrow morning, it's back to sunshine. We won't be as warm, but we'll be seasonal in the low 20s. High UV, though. We'll talk about more sunshine for the rest of the week just ahead. For now, I'll send it back inside to you at the desk. Stefanie?
Some good news for drivers as relief is on the way at the pumps. According to Canadians for Affordable Energy, gas is set to drop 10 cents per litre at midnight to roughly $1.74. They say gas prices are following the lead of oil, which has dropped about $10 a barrel in less than a week. On the issue of trade with the United States, Canada's Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc will be in Washington next week. July 1st is the deadline for a review of the Canada-US-Mexico trade deal. CTV's Abigail Beeman now on what we're hearing from LeBlanc before he heads south of the border.
Dominic LeBlanc isn't saying much about his travel plans, but his key message is things aren't so bad and people are paying too much attention to where Mexico is in trade talks relative to Canada. Attention is on Mexico these days because by all appearances, they are further ahead. The United States Trade Representative's office announced it will kick off the first of 3 rounds of formal negotiations with Mexico this week, but made no mention of Canada and did not respond to a request from CTV News. The U.S. has continued to make clear it has a number of trade irritants. Earlier this week at an event, Jameson Greer referenced trade challenges with Canada. While Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc tells CTV he met with Greer Monday for an hour via video and said Canada's chief trade negotiator was on the call too. LeBlanc tells us he will head to Washington for in-person meetings next week. Before his trip to New York, the Prime Minister told reporters this morning his meetings there are focused on the private sector, with institutions that are either already investing or are interested in investing in Canada.
A lot has changed in Canada, and we're moving forward at speed. You just have to just refer back to what we're discussing here. $500 billion of defense-related investment in the course of the next decade in Canada. Even in New York, that's real money. That's of interest, and there's opportunities to partner, and those will be the discussions. It's not a trade mission in that sense in terms of trade negotiations.
The Prime Minister also referenced ongoing conversations LeBlanc is having, and of course all this comes against the backdrop of the July 1st deadline for a review of the Canada-US-Mexico free trade deal. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
There is a new vision for Windsor Arena, affectionately known as the Barn. The purpose, to house the homeless and put them onto a path to recovery.
These are the initial designs of campus-style supportive housing.
Giving them a place to put their head on a bed, getting them off of our main street and other streets.
The City of Windsor believes it will significantly help those experiencing mental health and addiction in the downtown core.
Allowing them to live their lives, but also get the supports they need to get on a pathway to recovery.
What will be called the Village at the Barn will include 102 private, lockable pod-style dwellings located within a larger secure building next door to the city-owned Homelessness and Housing Help Hub, or H4. Included indoors, a common lounge, restrooms, showering and laundry facilities, along with an outdoor green space.
You need a place where you feel dignified. That's the first step to me in getting better, is saying, okay, you know what? Here's your home, man. Here's your home. Now we're going to start the process.
The village would also provide an exam room, clinical intake areas, and an administrative casework and counseling room.
Some people are there for weeks. Some people are there for a few months. The longest stay was 250 days.
Inspired by a visit to Aviva Village in Minneapolis, Mayor Drew Dilkens feels the concept will work here.
If our model will work anywhere, we want people to use it and to implement it and make it their own.
It will also help Windsor Police redirect their operations.
So we can really kind of focus more on police work and then have our specialty units like nurse police teams and our crisis response teams focus with our community partners on the root causes of what's going on. This is a real solution, I think, and we're super supportive of it.
The estimated price tag of the project will be announced next month, but Dilkens says the province and federal governments will need to provide some financial support. And for downtown councillor Ronaldo Agostino, a chance to preserve a part of Windsor's history.
I wanted to repurpose the barn. I want to save this.
Tecumseh residents are continuing pushback to an overhaul of town zoning. Residents speaking out Tuesday at the last public meeting on the proposed town-wide zoning bylaw. This oversees the parking of trailers and recreational vehicles, residential zones, and short-term rental regulations. Residents fear the proposal will change the town for the worse. Tecumseh is looking to simplify zoning, which has been in place since before amalgamation in the 90s. Council will vote on the changes at a meeting in late June. The next wave of doctors hoping to break into healthcare are getting their feet wet here in Windsor, Essex.
It's an awesome opportunity to go and learn in a more rural setting, get a better idea of what medicine looks like outside of the big fancy academic centers, and try to understand how do we kind of deal with and help our communities when we don't have all the resources we need. You're really on the front lines.
10 Western University students will spend the week as temporary staff members at Erie Shores Healthcare. Physicians in training spending the afternoon learning how to intubate and scan. The work is part of Erie Shores' efforts to showcase life in a rural healthcare setting. In recent years, the Leamington-based hospital has seen large improvements in physician recruitment and retention.
It's a great opportunity for us to showcase what the community has to offer with regards to mentoring new entrants into the medical profession. We take it not only as a social responsibility, but also as an opportunity to showcase what medicine is all about.
Meanwhile, the Coliseum at Caesars will soon welcome guests of all ages. Starting June 5th, concerts, comedy shows, and big performances can be enjoyed by families, teens, and grandparents all together. Officials say the move is all about creating shared experiences after feedback from guests who wanted more multi-generational entertainment. General Manager Jody Brown says the goal is to bring more people together and inspire the next wave of concert goers. There are still a few rules. The casino floor remains 19+, and minors must enter through the McDougall Street entrance. Supervision is required for children 12 and under. That person must be 16 years or older. The Detroit Grand Prix is revving up and causing traffic disruptions for commuters. While the tunnel CEO says getting into Detroit is a piece of cake, getting back may take a little more patience. Some downtown streets are already closing ahead of the race weekend, with detours in place around the tunnel exit area. Officials say the traffic impact has been fairly smooth in past years, but drivers are still being urged to leave themselves a few extra minutes. Still ahead on Windsor's News Leader, Canada turns to a new partner to put eyes in the sky as we distance ourselves from the United States. Then, why Apple and Google are speaking out against Bill C-22. Tomorrow, a rare look inside Windsor Assembly Plant as Stellantis unveils the new 2027 Chrysler Pacifica. That's tomorrow at 6 on CTV News. Mark Carney is following through on a pledge to reduce spending on American military equipment. The Prime Minister says Canada entered into negotiations for aerial surveillance from a Swedish company. CTV's Judy Trin with more.
A packed room at a defense conference, listening to the Prime Minister's mantra.
Build, partner, buy. We are focused first on building in Canada.
Exemplified by an investment in a joint Swedish-Canadian venture.
I'm pleased to announce that Canada has entered into negotiations to procure Saab's airborne early warning and control aircraft.
Saab's Global Eye surveillance system is built on the platform of Bombardier's corporate jet. The company has at least 40 aircraft in its pipeline to be sold to Canada and other allies. 3,000 jobs could be created. Economic spin-offs are in the tens of billions of dollars.
What this will do is create a new layer of job opportunities in terms of the modifications of the aircraft. So what Bombardier is doing now is getting actively involved in the discussions to create this secondary production.
Saab beat out an American competitor for its surveillance aircraft, momentum that it hopes could lift its chances of convincing Canada to purchase its Gripen fighter jet instead of the U.S.-made F-35. there are lineups to get into its cockpit.
We can show now as a company and as a country how closely we want to work with Canada. And if I can show how I can create an industrial collaboration and a hub on this type of capability in Canada.
At the Lockheed Martin booth, the F-35 simulator and its test pilot attracts interest but not buzz. Amid U.S. trade tensions, moving forward with procuring fighter jets has been paused for more than a year, worrying Canadian suppliers who have much to lose if the F-35 isn't selected.
Direct jobs, but also strengthening the company's programs and capabilities.
Wrapping up the negotiations for these surveillance planes will likely take a few more months. As for a decision on the fighter jets, the federal government is still refusing to say when. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Liberal MP Stephen Guilbeault broke his silence today, one day after confirming to CTV News he will be resigning his seat. As CTV's Mike LeCouture reports, the former Environment Minister is citing Carney's climate policy as the reason why.
Stephen Guilbeault said his first goodbyes to his Quebec colleagues in the Liberal Party, sharing a warm moment with the finance minister on the way out.
I want to applaud the person. I want to applaud his dedication to build Canada.
Guilbeault said his decision to leave politics began when he resigned from cabinet after the federal government inked an energy deal with Alberta with a plan to build a new pipeline. He's worried it will put Canada's emission reduction targets out of reach.
We're not committing to being carbon neutral by 2050. We're saying something like we'll strive to be carbon neutral, but we know that we won't be able to achieve.
The former environment minister warns Canadians are going to pay the price for the rolling back of climate change policies that he helped champion. And the Quebec MP feels there has been a shift within the Liberal Party since last year's election.
That platform, so commitments that we made to Canadians, mentioned climate change 28 times. It did not mention pipeline once.
Hours before those comments, Prime Minister Mark Carney defended his government's record on fighting climate change while also praising Guilbeault's work.
We worked together when I was UN Special Representative on climate action and finance as well, so we worked together closely in a variety of areas, and I've always enjoyed working with him.
While Guilbeault feels the Liberals have watered down climate change policies, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre countered that argument.
Mr. Guilbeault's radical anti-development agenda, which Mr. Carney enthusiastically advocated in his own book, all of that remains in place.
Guilbeault says he's not the only member of the Liberal caucus who's uncomfortable with what's happening on climate change. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Apple and Google representatives, along with Canada's Privacy Commissioner, are speaking out against Bill C-22, which would force companies to hand over digital evidence to law enforcement.
As drafted, this bill allows the Government of Canada to force companies to break encryption by inserting backdoors into their products, something Apple will never do.
It goes well beyond lawful access regimes in other G7 democracies and risks creating new surveillance infrastructure that would introduce serious security vulnerabilities, undermine user trust.
Officials from the tech titans raising data collection and civil liberty concerns in Ottawa. They are pushing for major changes to the bill. Canada's main stock index finished lower, weighed down by losses in the basic materials sector. The TSX dropped almost 250 points. In New York, the Dow Jones rose 182, the Nasdaq was up 18, the loonie lost 1/10 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold fell $53.50 an ounce and oil was down over $5 a barrel. A local partnership is turning community support into real housing solutions. Coming up, who's behind the impact?
Let's take a look at this beautiful image. Thanks to Becca Hewer for sending it in. You've got a great snapshot. Hopefully you shot it horizontally formatted, of course. That orientation's perfect for TV. We'd love to see it. Text it to us at 10400. Your forecast about sunny weather's coming up after this.
Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
The sunshine continues. Gary joins us again for an extended look at the forecast. Gary.
I think sunshine and warm temperatures still the story, but not as warm as we head into tomorrow. Today, between a couple of weather stations, we've been between 26 and 27 degrees Celsius. Our average high closer to 23. We'll take it. Humidity values in particular were very low, relatively speaking, in the 40s, mid-40s. That meant warm temperatures felt comfortable. You weren't sweating it out, obviously. On the lakes early through the midday, it was comfortable and warm. Air quality is decent, a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. The lower the number, the better, so we like that. 25 degrees, a bit hazy and sunny in Chatham-Kent. That's 77 degrees Fahrenheit, 25 or 79. Close to 26, actually, in the city, within the city limits in Windsor, Essex. 28 and 27 is what it feels like, so I just wanted to show you that. Very close to the actual ambient temperatures, which means it's relatively speaking quite comfortable. The western tier of the country, the southern, even northern prairies have warmed up considerably. It's almost 30 degrees in Regina, 27 in Winnipeg. Calgary's closing in on 25. Could see 27 later this afternoon, their time. Scattered showers remain south of Lake Erie. That's good news. Ridge of high pressure is keeping things quiet, save for a very light shower event moving through upper Michigan right now. I'm not anticipating much. There's a slight chance of overnight showers, but I think it's going to clear out and be quite sunny throughout the day and a very comfortable 21 to 22 degrees Celsius. Take a look at our 7-day forecast I've put together for all of us, every one of you, courtesy of Intercare Siles. Sunny for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even Monday's a mixture of sun and fair weather cloud. The average temperature between Thursday and Monday is about 22. And we don't see real significant rain at least until Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. Even then, temperatures are seasonal, 22 to about 24 degrees. The lows could get cool-ish Friday morning, down to about 6 degrees, but for the most part, it looks good, real good. Just remember to water your plants and enjoy. Use that sunscreen. Wear those sunglasses. That's a look at your weather.
For women and children fleeing violence, finding safety is only the first step. Today, Caesars Windsor Cares announced just under an $11,500 donation to help Hiatus House build transitional housing through its A Place to Heal project. The funding comes from guest donations through the Caesars Makes Change program and is matched by Caesars Windsor Cares. Hiatus House says the project will offer families up to 2 years of stable housing. The project is now shovel-ready and one step closer to becoming a reality.
So we have completed our drawings and have received variances from the city to be able to place the building on that lot. And we're working with Build Canada Homes and our provincial government to try to raise the differential in the capital funding to make this a reality. We're really hoping to see it come to fruition in the next months.
Cottage cheese has become a staple in many diets lately thanks to a boost from social media influencers. However, that's left some buyers with a pair of problems: empty shelves and rising prices. CTV's Colton Wines has more on the cottage cheese craze.
We've seen a huge uptick in it in recent months.
The demand for cottage cheese is growing.
Cottage cheese is something that we have always carried, but now carry a lot more of it because a lot of people are buying it for protein.
Retailers like Victoria Street Market and Central Fresh Market say supply has not been an issue for them, but empty cottage cheese shelves is something other consumers are noticing at other stores.
My wife eats cottage cheese, and we've noticed that it's tougher to find in the grocery store. Cottage cheese demand is up. I've heard as much as 30%. And that means that we're seeing sometimes empty shelves in the store.
One of the main causes, the popularity of influencers using it in recipes posted to social media.
What you've got is a very rapid change in demand. Protein is cool again.
TikTok and Instagram have really come up with some really cool ways to utilize it for people to get protein. But yeah, it definitely, I think, has taken a hit in terms of the cost effectiveness.
Registered dietitian Chelsea Cross says she used to use cottage cheese as a cheaper alternative to Greek yogurt because of its simplicity, but the price keeps rising.
We used to be able to get cottage cheese for like $2 for the same container as like Greek yogurt, and now it's $4 or $5, which is very similar to Greek yogurt at this point.
According to the director of Dalhousie University's Agri-Food Analytics Lab, cottage cheese prices have jumped roughly 60% since 2020, now averaging around $5 a tub today. University of Guelph food economist Michael von Massow says a lot of that has to do with the sudden demand for it, but producers need to decide how to divvy up what their milk goes to.
Dairy processors operate fairly close to capacity too, so they might need to adapt capacity or bring some old capacity up to speed a little bit more.
Going forward, Von Massow says grocers will keep adjusting prices to avoid empty shelves, but producers need to decide if it's a trend worth making a change for.
Making sure that they have the production capacity to meet that demand with the certainty that that demand is going to continue.
Colton Ween, CTV News, Kitchener.
Cheese. A lot of team picks were taken as local teams advance to the provincial championship. Still ahead, we'll show you who is moving on.
We are on the sidelines with Bob Belichico tonight. Now, a few local teams are getting to play for the top prize in their leagues, Bob.
Yeah, that's right. Offset Championship start next week, and 4 teams from the area have advanced, which is really cool. First off, we're going to talk baseball. St. Anne's, coached by Steve Burke. They beat Ursuline College 5-0 Tuesday in Chatham. Never have I. Carter Neve of Lambton Kent Secondary School grabbed a crazy bounce and easily deposits it into the empty net. That was the backbreaker for Academy St. Cecile, who trailed 2-1 at that point. Neve's goal was the first of 2 quick ones as LK sailed to a 4-1 win. They are heading to OFSA for the second time in 3 years and are more seasoned as a veteran team this time around.
They were just better today. I mean, we fought hard. We didn't play our best game, but overall, we had a pretty good season, and I'm just happy that we were able to get to Wexa and Swassa, but unfortunately, the result wasn't here today.
We never backed down. You know, we pushed as hard as we could. We got to 1-1 going in the half, and then had a nice second goal, and then third and fourth were really quick, and that was exciting to go on.
We had a good season, went undefeated, and just made it happen, pushed through the playoffs. Even maybe these teams are a little better, but we just worked hard, and we just wanted it more.
Boom, shalakalaka boom right there. Nice goal for Lesueur. In fact, there were 11 of those as Les Aigles were dominant. They dumped Lambton Central 11-1. Serge Hopegap was the stud of the game. Well, one of them anyway. For Lesueur, he had 3 goals. Gabriel Abi Dekun also found the back of the net 3 times. Les Aigles are heading to Milton next week for the AA Championship. And that there is Isabel Sacalo converting a penalty kick after a handball in the box. The Villanova senior girls team was on the road and had a tug-of-war against Sarnia St. Pat's. The 2 teams exchanged goals with Tia Astles scoring the winner. The Wildcats win 3-2. They are headed to Kitchener next week.
Exciting. Okay, and
Yeah.
Bob, last week you told us about the Windsor Open Jiu-Jitsu tournament happening at the university. 700 athletes competing, and a Windsor fighter did pretty well.
Yeah, it was busy there last weekend. I checked it out, and Jude Chandler won a couple of golds, a gold in the no-gi and another in the gi division. Now, Chandler got his opponent to the ground within seconds of the start of the gold medal match. He pulled off a couple of points and rode that to victory. The 22-year-old said it was a tough match because he worked late the night before and was cramping up, but he got through. Chandler also coached the kids from Apex MMA in the morning session, which he says was very rewarding.
It's good seeing them start early and not just exercise-wise and, you know, on the mats and learning how to defend yourself, but it's good for the kids overall, for their confidence showing up in school. They walk with their shoulders up higher, and win or lose on the mats for the kids, they're winners to overcome, you know, that fear they might have to actually come out and actually compete and step on the mats. And, you know, getting gold or winning, it's just a bonus on top of it.
Well done, young man. I love that. Now, here's a fun one. His teammate Devin Fortier hopped on the mat and made it to the semifinals where he faced Chandler. Fortier is a Muay Thai specialist, but found himself in a field of 8 fighters in the jiu-jitsu, I'm going to try that again, jiu-jitsu tournament, thank you. He finished 3rd after losing to Chandler. Funny moment during the match. Chandler, knowing he's got an edge, encouraged Fortier to try a move. Fortier told me afterwards he had no idea what Chandler was telling him to try.
Well, you've seen how it went. I thought I did pretty good, but the judging didn't. I don't know how that works, to be honest. When he had my arm there, I kind of panicked for a minute because that's my good arm. I didn't want to, I used that to punch, so didn't want him breaking it. Definitely different, though.
I thought he was winning, but he did really well for the first time. Not bad. Next time, he'll likely have a little more time to get ready. Now, to the University of Windsor, where Associate Head Track Coach Brett Lumley has been named to the coaching staff for the Commonwealth Games. He'll be heading to Glasgow, Scotland on July 23rd. This will be Brett's 14th appearance with Canada's national team.
Well, I've been assigned to combined events and jumps, so the team's not selected until after the national championships, where it's our 3 weeks. So I don't know who it's going to be yet, but I have a sense of who it's going to be. There's a couple of really good athletes that I think that I'll be working with. I'm very excited to work with them.
Congratulations to Brett. Now let's hit the ice. NHL hockey, can you believe this? Mitch Marner, folks, is going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Ouch, that one hurts. Sorry, Leaf Nation. But really, though, trash talk aside, who saw this one coming? The Vegas Golden Knights sweeping aside the President's Trophy-winning Colorado Avalanche. For real? The Knights beat the Avs 2-1 and are heading back to the Stanley Cup Finals. For head coach John Tortorella, it's his first time back since leading the Tampa Bay Lightning to their first cup in 2004. Man, oh man, that was a 2-1 win over Calgary in Game 7. Tonight, it's Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final in Montreal. The Habs are down 2-1 against Carolina. I was telling a friend of mine, a big diehard Habs fan, Tony Veracali, you can't win if you don't get a shot on net. Come on.
Exactly.
The Habs forever didn't get a shot on goal to end Game 3. They need a shot.
They do. So how pumped
What do
are
you think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, every single game, it's exciting in our family. Yeah. The kids have dinner, they take a bath, they get in their pajamas, we all sit down and watch the game, at least the first period before we put the kids to bed. They're still really young, but yeah, it's a big thing in our house. We're excited.
That's a fun thing. Hey, do I have time for a story? 10 seconds, real quick. Soccer game the other day. 2 soccer players pushing each other. One shoved one, he got mad, he shoved the other one. Referee yelled at both of them, pulled them aside, and said, "You guys shake hands right now." I thought it was the coolest thing. I even gave the referee a pat on the back for it at the end of the game.
Yeah, well,
sportsmanship, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
so we learned
and that's
a lot.
why refs are there.
We learned a lot today in this sportscast. So yeah, sportsmanship is one of the big things.
Okay, that's On the Sideline with Bob Belichico. We will be right back.
The hilarious Daniel Tosh brings his My First Farewell tour to Caesars Windsor on Thursday, June 25th. Enter online at ctvwindsor.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Daniel Tosh at Caesars Windsor, plus a $200 gift card.
You tell?
And oh yes, exactly. By that tree, those leaves,
Look how
exactly.
blue that sky is.
So
right?
blue, yes, definitely
Air
on your
quality
side
is
of the
great.
city. I think it's a little more blue than other side. But in all seriousness, the high UV index.
High UV, yeah. Sunscreen, just use it. right? You're aging yourself when you're not. I mean, why? Who wants to do that? And if you have a fair complexion, you're more prone to sunburn, that sort of thing, heat rash. So take care of yourself and your eyes, right? We do not want to create a situation where you have to go to the doctor. So enjoy the sunshine, because the next 4 days straight, average temperatures low 20s, humidity values will be low, just like today, perhaps the best Gulf day of the year so far. The winds were light, the humidity levels were in the 40% range. That's dry air, relatively speaking. So it just felt comfortable. You're not sweating and feeling, you know, ugly out there. You're enjoying it. And a lot of people were outside today just because of those reasons. So
yeah, and it's a perfect day to get outside, have some iced tea, put on the stereo, listen to one of your 138 AI-generated songs that you created.
To my brother in Pickering, he's a professional musician. He's been playing guitar at Royal Conservatory. I get it. It's not real. I know.
He's not happy.
I don't have real talent. But boy, do I love making AI music.
Okay, we have Travis kicking off the 11 o'clock newscast. Hotel Dieu, Grace Healthcare, they meet tonight.
Yes, and they'll get an update on the hospital's mental health and addictions urgent crisis care center, including its recent expansion to 24/7 walk-in care. We'll also hear more about new children's mental health programs and how HDGH says those services are helping take pressure off police and emergency rooms. Those details tonight at 11.
Okay, and while we wait for that, a centuries-old shipwreck has been transformed into a shimmering designer dress thanks to some cutting-edge technology. Here's Jeremy Roth.
Take a look at a fashionable knitted dress that literally got its roots from the wood of a 17th century shipwreck. According to Finland's Aalto University, with the assistance of AI technology, a pair of dresses were created from the surplus wood of an ancient shipwreck discovered beneath a parking lot in 2019. Working with the Finnish Heritage Agency, university researchers say the wood contained very few impurities and was surprisingly easy to process, and shared a look on social media at the procedure to shred, dissolve, transform, and spin the wood fibers into fabric. The resulting knitted maxi dresses have a subtle brown hue, which, according to the university, is derived not from dyes, but originates directly from the 300-plus-year-old wood's natural color. The dresses will soon be on display to the public in a pair of museum exhibits celebrating this impressive effort of innovation and conservation. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Out of all of the things you could have done with that shipwreck, I'm not sure who came up with the idea of the dress. I mean, it is a cool concept. Yeah. AI, which you love.
Yes. Within reason.
Yeah, yeah, very
dresses,
interesting.
Okay, if you want to make a dress out of it, but I thought that would have been in a museum.
Maybe we'll be putting the dress in the museum.
I don't know.
It is really interesting. Would you wear that? Would you wear that dress?
Of course. Why not?
Looks like burlap.
It's a part of history.
It's true.
Okay, on behalf of our dedicated team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you for watching.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
Gary and I will be back with your only late local newscast at 11.
Good night.
My music is actually good. It really is.